The night was quiet over the small human village. A campfire burned in the center, glowing bright against the dark sky. Sparks danced upward as if trying to touch the stars. Around the fire, humans sat together. Their faces glowed in the light, their hands busy with knives, bowls, and strange tools. Above them, hidden in the shadows of the forest, a group of alien eyes watched. They belonged to the Zorathians, travelers from far beyond the stars. Their ships were silent, their cloaks invisible. They had come to study Earth, to see what kind of creatures lived on this blue planet. They expected to find weak life, soft minds, simple animals. But what they saw made their cold blood shiver. The humans had killed a beast earlier that day. Its body now lay on the ground, cut into pieces. The humans placed the meat over the fire, letting smoke rise into the sky. They added strange powders, spices that released smells the Zorathians had never known. It was sharp, strong, and full of life. The leader of the alien scouts whispered in their strange tongue, They are burning flesh. They are cooking it." The others trembled. For the Zorathians, life was sacred. They fed only on pure energy, never flesh. The idea of fire and eating another creature's body was horrifying. To them, it was madness. But humans did not act like monsters. They laughed. They smiled. They told stories while waiting for the food to finish. A child clapped when the flames grew brighter. An old man sang a soft song. The meat roasted slowly, dripping fat into the fire, making it roar. The aliens could not look away. One of them whispered again, voice shaking. "They are not afraid of fire. They control it. They enjoy it." The leader leaned closer, his dark eyes wide. "They are predators. And they share the hunt. Look! Look at how they pass food to each other." As the first piece of roasted meat was ready, a woman cut it into smaller pieces. She gave some to the old man, some to the child, some to her friend. They all ate together. The aliens stared in shock. It was not just survival. It was a ritual. A connection. The smell drifted higher, stronger. One alien covered his mouth, sick with fear. Another felt something strange, curiosity. The humans chewed, swallowed, and laughed again. To them, this was joy. To the Zorathians, this was nightmare. The leader spoke in a low, almost fearful voice. "They are dangerous. They consume the life around them. If they eat all, what will they do to us?" The question hung heavy in the air. The aliens had come expecting to study a young race. But in that moment, they saw something else. A species that did not just survive. They took from the world and made it part of themselves. Fire, flesh, poison, danger. Humans turned it into strength. The night grew colder, but the fire grew hotter. The humans' shadows danced against the trees, tall and monstrous in alien eyes. The smell of meat was everywhere, filling the forest, filling the alien senses. The child laughed again, holding up a bone like a prize. The humans clapped for him. The aliens froze. "Celebration," the leader whispered. "They celebrate the kill." Another alien shivered. "They are smiling while eating death." "How can they do that?" The leader did not answer. He only kept watching, his fear growing with every bite the humans took. The fire popped. The humans shouted in surprise, then laughed even louder. To the aliens, it was madness. To the humans, it was life. And then something worse happened. One of the humans looked straight toward the trees. His eyes narrowed, scanning the darkness. For a moment, the leader thought the human had seen them. The alien heart raced. But the human only smiled, raised his roasted meat high, and took a big bite. The sound of teeth breaking flesh echoed in the alien's ears. The leader felt his blood turn to ice. "They know we are here," he whispered. "And they are showing us what they do." The others hissed in fear. The humans kept eating, laughing, sharing. The aliens kept watching, trapped between horror and fascination. Finally, the leader turned away. His voice was heavy. "We came to study them, but now, I wonder if we are the prey." The forest grew darker. The fire burned brighter. The humans ate without fear, without shame, without weakness. And in the silence of the alien ship above, one final message was sent back to the stars. Humans eat the world.
They will eat anything.
They are not prey. They are the hunters of the galaxy. The Zorathian scouts did not leave. They could not. Fear pushed them to run, but curiosity forced them to stay. They hid deeper in the shadows, their thin bodies pressed against the trees. Their large black eyes never blinked as they studied the strange creatures around the fire. Humans. The name itself was simple, yet the meaning was heavy. A species unlike any they had seen before. Other worlds had predators, yes. Other worlds had fire, yes. But never had they seen life forms that combined both. Eaters who laughed while burning flesh, hunters who bonded over death. The leader, Commander Vale, opened his recorder. His long fingers tapped the glass-like surface of the device. A red light blinked and his low voice carried across the still air. Report: humans do not eat light. They do not absorb energy. They consume matter. They take bodies of other living beings, change them with fire, and then place them inside themselves. His voice trembled on the last words. Even for a warrior of his rank, the image of humans tearing meat with teeth was nightmare fuel. Another scout, young and nervous, leaned close. Commander, is it not possible they eat only for survival? Perhaps they have no choice? Vale turned his eyes toward the fire again. The humans were still eating, still smiling. One of them, a woman, broke her own piece of meat in half and gave it to a man beside her. The man laughed and pushed his own plate toward her in return. Vale shook his head. No, this is not survival. This is ritual. Look how they share. Look how they offer. Eating is not only hunger. It is trust. It is family. The younger scout recoiled in shock. Family to the Zerathians was not built on food. It was built on silence, on shared energy fields, on cold unity. Never on flesh, another alien whispered, voice sharp with fear. If they bond through food, then any creature could be their bond. Even us. The thought cut through the group like a blade. They watched as the humans finished their meal. But instead of stopping, they began to prepare again. Knives scraped, bones cracked. Herbs were scattered into the fire. The smell grew stronger. The aliens' sensitive senses screamed in protest. One scout gagged. They eat more? After so much already? Vale did not look away. His voice grew darker. They eat until nothing remains. They eat until death is gone. They eat until the world becomes part of them. The humans' actions made no sense to Zerathian logic. Every other intelligent species they had studied avoided waste, avoided excess. But humans seemed to enjoy it. They hunted not just to survive, but to celebrate. And then something even stranger happened. A man reached into the flames and pulled out a blackened stick. On it was a small piece of burnt meat. The smell was sharp, bitter. The aliens thought it must be poison. But the man smiled, blew on it, and popped it into his mouth. His friends laughed at his foolishness. Vale's eyes widened. He whispered into the recorder. Note, humans eat poison fire. They do not fall. They laugh, the young scout whispered, horrified. They resist death itself. The truth spread through the group like ice. These creatures were not fragile. They did not fear danger. They welcomed it, tasted it, and turned it into strength. Another alien, older and wise, spoke softly. Do you not see? Every bite is a message. They are telling the universe, and we can eat anything. We can survive anything. Silence followed his words. Even the forest seemed to listen. The humans were packing up now. They saved bones in small bags, kept fire alive with careful hands, and cleaned their knives with cloth. Every movement was efficient, practiced. It was the mark of hunters who had done this 1,000 times before. The child from earlier yawned and leaned against the old man. The old man wrapped an arm around him, pulling him close. Together they looked at the dying flames, peaceful and warm. To the aliens, this was the most terrifying thing of all. These monsters of fire and flesh were also soft, gentle with each other. The combination was something the Zerathians could not understand. How could killers also be caretakers? How could predators sing lullabies? Vale closed his recorder. His voice was heavy, almost broken. Report end, humans are not simple. They are not beasts. They are something new. A predator that loves, a killer that shares, a species that eats, and yet protects. He looked at his team. Their eyes were wide, their bodies trembling. None of them would ever see the galaxy the same way again. The humans finally left the campfire, walking into the night. Their laughter faded into the distance. The forest grew quiet again, but the aliens did not move. They stood frozen, still smelling the fire, still hearing the echo of teeth breaking flesh. Vale whispered one last thought, not into his recorder but to himself. If they ever look at us the way they looked at that beast, The galaxy is already lost. The others said nothing. They did not need to. The truth was clear in their silence. The observation was complete. And it was terrifying. The night after the campfire, the Zerathian scouts stayed hidden near the human village. They should have returned to their ship. They should have sent their reports and left this strange, dangerous world. But something kept them rooted in the shadows. Curiosity. Commander Vale sat crouched behind a tree, his long limbs folded tight. His recorder was silent now. He did not want every word of his heart captured. Instead, he simply stared at the humans moving through their lives. By day, they were different from the night. They built, they worked, they laughed. Some carried wood, some fetched water, some sharpened blades. Children ran in circles, chasing each other with wild joy. The Zerathians had seen other species work. They had seen order, rules, patterns, but never chaos like this. Humans moved like scattered pieces, yet somehow everything still fit together. One scout muttered softly, "They waste energy. They run without reason. They laugh without cause. How can such chaos create survival?" Vale answered with a slow shake of his head. "It is not waste, it is freedom." The word tasted strange in his mouth. The Zerathians had no such concept. To them, life was duty, service, order. No one laughed without purpose. No one sang without command. But here, humans did. Later that day, the humans gathered again. This time, no great beast was slain. Instead, they roasted small animals, baked roots, boiled leaves in steaming pots. The smell drifted out once more, rich and alive. The alien senses flinched, but their minds leaned closer. Vale felt it first, a strange pull inside him. He wanted to know. Not just watch, not just fear. He wanted to understand. Why did fire and flesh bring such joy? Why did humans smile while tearing life apart? He whispered to his team, "One of us must go closer." The young scout gasped. "Closer, Commander, they will see us." "Better they see us," Vale said. "Then we remain blind." The silence that followed was heavy. No Zerathian wanted to move forward. To be near humans was to be near danger itself, yet curiosity was stronger than fear. Finally, the youngest scout stepped out. His name was Ryle. His thin body trembled, but his black eyes burned with hunger, not for flesh, but for answers. He crept toward the edge of the village, his cloak shimmering to hide him. Every step was a heartbeat of terror. He stopped behind a wooden fence. Through the cracks, he could see humans up close for the first time. Their skin glowed warm in the sunlight. Their hands were rough but skilled. Their mouths never seemed to stop moving, talking, laughing, eating. And then Ryle saw something that shook him more than fire or flesh. A human woman took a piece of bread, soft, golden, steaming. She broke it in half. She gave one half to a small child who had no food. The child's face lit up with pure joy. Ryle's heart stuttered. He whispered to himself, They give away food. They do not keep it all. In Zerathian culture, food was rationed with cold precision. No one gave away energy unless commanded. To share freely was unthinkable. To share with the weak was waste. But here it was natural. Ryle leaned closer, his breath shaking. He wanted to taste the bread. He wanted to feel what humans felt when they ate together. Back in the shadows, Commander Vale watched his young scout with narrowed eyes. He knew the danger, yet he too could not look away. He understood what was happening. Curiosity was no longer just curiosity. It was temptation. Ryle stayed too long. A child's eyes suddenly flicked toward the fence. The boy squinted, staring at the cracks. For a terrifying moment, Ryle thought he had been seen. The child tilted his head, curious. Then, without fear, the boy walked closer. Ryle froze. His cloak shimmered, trying to hide him, but the boy's eyes seemed sharp, almost piercing. The child stopped, holding his bread. Slowly, carefully, he pushed the piece of bread through the crack in the fence. Ryle's world stopped. The boy smiled and ran back toward his people, leaving the bread behind. The scout's hands trembled as he picked it up. Warm, soft, alive with smell. He stared at it, his mind screaming in conflict. To eat was forbidden. To take part in their ritual was madness. But curiosity whispered louder. He pressed the bread to his mouth and took a small bite. The taste exploded across his tongue. It was warm, soft, full of life. Not just food, something more. Something that carried the human's hand, the human's kindness. Tears filled his black eyes. From the shadows, Vale clenched his fists. He knew something had changed. The humans had touched one of them, not with weapons, not with power, but with food. When Ryle returned, his cloak flickering weakly, his face was pale with shock. He whispered to his commander, "They do not eat only to live. They eat to give, to connect." I felt it. I felt human. The team shivered in silence. For the first time, one of them had crossed the line, and for the first time they understood the true danger. Humans did not conquer with claws or fire alone. They conquered with sharing, with kindness wrapped in hunger, with curiosity turned into connection. And in that moment, the Zarathians realized the truth. If humans could make even an alien taste bread and feel joy, then nothing in the galaxy was safe. The Zarathians could not agree. After Ryle tasted human bread, the team divided. Some whispered he had betrayed their kind. Others whispered he had shown them a new truth. Commander Vale said nothing. He only watched the humans more closely. Days passed. Each day, humans gathered around fire. Each day they ate, laughed, sang. The Zarathians studied, recorded, argued, but no answer came. Were humans dangerous monsters, or something even more complex? Finally, the higher council sent a command to Vale's ship. Make contact. Test them. The order felt like poison in Vale's chest. Contact meant risk. Contact meant exposure. Contact meant facing those smiling predators face to face. But duty was duty. That night, under the bright silver moon, the Zarathians prepared. They would not step forward themselves, not yet. Instead, they sent a drone, a small sphere of metal and light, silent, smooth watching. It drifted out of the forest and hovered above the human campfire. The humans noticed at once. Knives paused. Conversations fell quiet. The child from before pointed at the floating sphere. Men stood, hands on weapons, women pulled children close. For a long moment, the fire crackled in silence. The Zarathians held their breath. Then the oldest human stood. His hair was white, his back slightly bent. Yet his eyes were sharp, strong. He raised his hand slowly, showing no weapon. His voice, deep and steady, broke the silence. "Visitors," he said. "You do not need to hide. We see you." Vale's chest tightened. They knew. They had always known. The old man stepped closer to the drone. His face was calm. He spoke again. "We are not your enemy. Sit with us. Share fire." The Zarathians hissed in their native tongue. Share fire? Share food? Was this an invitation or a trap? The drone projected a message in return, words shaped in the human tongue. "We come in peace. We wish to study. We will not harm you." The humans looked at each other. Then something happened the Zarathians did not expect. The old man laughed, a warm, full laugh. He clapped his hands and shouted to his people. The humans cheered. They cheered for the drone. They cheered for the aliens, and then they did the unthinkable. A woman stepped forward, holding a stick of roasted meat. She lifted it toward the drone, offering it as if the machine itself could eat. The Zarathians froze. In their minds, the meaning was clear. This was no threat. This was no weapon. This was worse. It was an invitation. The humans were trying to feed them. Ryle whispered in awe, his voice shaking. "They are welcoming us. They want us to join them, as if we are part of their tribe." Another scout hissed back. "No, they want us to lower our guard, to taste their poison, to make us like them." Vale's eyes narrowed. He saw the danger in both truths. Yet curiosity clawed at his mind again. He leaned forward, speaking into the drone. "We cannot eat your fire food. We are different." The humans listened. They looked at one another, and then they did something that shattered the Zarathians' logic even further. The woman placed the stick of roasted meat down near the fire. She backed away slowly. She did not force it. She did not demand. She simply left it there, waiting, as if saying, "When you are ready, it is yours." The aliens trembled. This was not how conquerors acted. This was not how enemies behaved. This was patience. This was respect. But to the Zarathians, it was also power. A terrifying kind of power. Vale ended the transmission and pulled the drone back into the forest. The humans watched it leave, but none chased, none threatened. Instead, they waved. Some even smiled. The scouts whispered all at once. They knew we were here. They welcomed us. They tried to feed us. They did not fear. Vale silenced them with a sharp gesture. His voice was heavy, filled with unease. "This is worse than fear. Fear we understand, but this is something else. They try to bind us. With food, with kindness, with fire. He looked at Riel, who still held the memory of bread on his tongue. The young scout lowered his eyes, unable to speak. Vale spoke again, softer this time, as if to himself. If they can tame even fear with sharing, then how will the galaxy resist them? What weapon will stand against a species that conquers not with blades but with meals? The scout said nothing. The night grew quiet again, but none of them could forget the human laughter, the waving hands, the gift of roasted meat left by the fire. It was the first contact. And it was not a battle, not a threat, not a demand. It was something far more dangerous. It was an invitation to become part of them. The forest was silent, but the Zerathians' minds were loud with fear. The humans had not fought them, had not chased them, had not even threatened them. Instead, the humans had offered food. Fire-cooked, spiced, warm food. That single act was more frightening than any weapon. Commander Vale did not sleep. His black eyes stayed open through the night, replaying the image of the woman leaving roasted meat for the drone. His people whispered in the dark, restless. Some argued the humans were clever manipulators, tricking them with kindness. Others argued it was worse. That kindness was not a trick at all, but genuine. And genuine kindness was the most dangerous weapon of all. The next day, the humans gathered again. They brought baskets of strange roots, green leaves, and small animals. The Zerathians hid nearby, their cloaks shimmering, their senses sharp. But this time something different happened. The humans lit their fire as usual. They roasted meat, they boiled plants, but one man took a handful of bright red berries. They glowed in the light almost like tiny drops of blood. Vale's breath caught. He knew those berries. His species had studied Earth's biology before landing. Those berries were poison, deadly. Even small amounts killed. The man held the berries up. His people shouted warnings. The old man waved his hands, shaking his head. But the younger man only laughed. He tossed one berry into his mouth. The Zerathians froze in horror. The man chewed. He swallowed. For a heartbeat, he made a face of pain. His body trembled. His people cried out, and then he laughed again. He took another berry. He ate it. This time he smiled. His skin flushed, his eyes sparkled. He raised his arms high, showing strength. The crowd cheered. Vale whispered, his voice shaking. They eat poison, and they survive. Riel's jaw dropped. His thin fingers clenched the earth. Impossible. That fruit should burn his blood. His cells should collapse. But the man only danced by the fire, mocking death itself. Another human picked up a red berry. More cautious. He tasted it slowly, carefully. He coughed, his face red, but he did not die. His friend slapped his back, laughing, proud. It was not madness. It was a ritual. A test. The Zerathians understood then. Humans did not only eat what was safe. They tested danger. They pushed their bodies against death just to see if they could stand. Vale whispered into his recorder. Observation. Humans use poison as challenge. They make danger a game. They treat death as something to laugh at. One of his scouts hissed in fear. If they can eat poison and live, what can kill them? The answer was silence. The humans kept cheering, kept daring each other to try more. Not all ate the berries, but those who did wore smiles like victory crowns. They had faced death and turned it into celebration. And then something happened that twisted the knife deeper into alien hearts. The man who first ate the berries, the one who had laughed loudest, picked up a child. He lifted the boy high, spinning him around. The child laughed, clapping his hands. The man gave him a piece of cooked bread instead of a berry. Gentle, careful, protective. Vale felt cold dread wash over him. They know when to give danger. And when to give safety, they choose. They decide who faces poison and who is shielded. The Zerathians had no such balance. Their world was cold order, everyone equal, everyone the same. But humans bent the rules. They took risks willingly for pride, for fun, yet they protected their weak with the same fire. Riel whispered, almost in awe. They are not like us. They are more. They fight death and laugh. They give life and smile. They shape survival itself. The scouts trembled. As the fire burned low, the humans began to sing. Their voices rose in strange harmony. The sound shook the air, wild and beautiful. It was not just noise. It was power wrapped in rhythm. To the Zerathians, it was unbearable. Not only did humans eat poison, not only did they survive, they celebrated it together as one. Commander Vale shut his recorder. His voice dropped to a whisper meant only for himself. This is the true danger. They do not fear death. They test it, they taste it, they play with it. And the galaxy has no defense against those who laugh at poison. Above, the night sky glittered with stars, but to the Zerathians, those stars no longer felt safe. If humans ever left this planet, if they ever carried their fire and their hunger into the void, then no world, no species, no empire would remain untouched. The test was complete. The humans had eaten poison and made it into joy, and the Zerathians finally understood. Humans were not just survivors, they were challengers of death itself. The Zerathians could no longer remain hidden. For too long they had watched humans eat fire, share food, and laugh at death. Reports had been sent, warnings had been spoken, but the High Council demanded more. They wanted direct contact. They wanted proof. Commander Vale gathered his scouts in the forest. Their cloaks shimmered faintly, hiding them from human eyes. But even the technology felt weak compared to the firelight laughter that still rang in their ears. They already know we are here, Vale said, his voice hard. They welcomed our drone. They fed our silence. If we continue to hide, they will think us cowards. Tonight we reveal ourselves. Fear rippled through the group. One scout whispered, "They will eat us." Another hissed, "They will trap us." But young Ryle stepped forward, his voice firm. "They will not. They gave me bread. They did not harm me. If they wanted us dead, they could have hunted us already." Vale studied him. Real had changed since that single bite of bread. He spoke differently now. There was warmth in his words, something alien to the cold tones of his species. Finally, Vale nodded. "Very well. Tonight we face them." The humans had gathered once more. Fire roared in the center of their camp, smoke curling high into the night. Meat sizzled on sticks. Roots steamed in clay pots. Children played near the edge of the light, their laughter piercing the darkness. And then, shadows moved. The Zerathians stepped out from the forest. Their cloaks flickered away, revealing tall, thin forms with black eyes and pale skin that shimmered under the firelight. The humans gasped. Knives were raised, children pulled back. For one tense heartbeat, silence cut the air. Then the old man stepped forward, the same who had spoken to the drone. His eyes narrowed, sharp yet calm. He raised one hand, palm open, showing peace. "Welcome," he said. His voice carried like stone across the camp. "You have watched us long enough. Now sit." The Zerathians froze. Sit, join the fire? No species had ever spoken to them this way. Most races bowed, trembled, begged. But these humans treated them as equals. No, not equals. As guests, one scout hissed in their native tongue. "Trap! It is a trap!" But the humans did not attack. Instead, a woman stepped forward with a bowl of steaming stew. She bent low, placed it gently on the ground, and slid it toward the Zerathians. The smell of cooked meat and herbs rose into the night. The scouts recoiled in disgust. Their senses screamed at the scent. To them it was corruption, death, fire-made flesh. One could not stop himself. He spat, his voice sharp and cold. "Primitive, disgusting. You call this food? You burn life and poison yourselves with smoke." The humans fell silent. The fire cracked loudly in the stillness. For a moment the air grew heavy. Then, to the Zerathians' shock, the humans laughed. Loud, deep, joyful laughter. The insult was treated as a joke, not an attack. The woman who had offered the stew only smiled. She pushed the bowl closer with her foot and said calmly, "Eat or do not eat. But the fire is still open to you." Vale felt his chest tighten. This was worse than an ambush. This was worse than war. The humans did not take offense. They did not strike back. They simply waited, patient and kind, as if the aliens were children throwing tantrums. One human, a strong young man, tore a piece of roasted meat with his teeth, chewing loudly. He looked at the Zerathians with a grin as if to say, "See? It is safe. Join us if you dare." The scouts trembled. Their minds filled with fear and confusion. Ryle stepped forward, breaking the line. His voice shook, but his eyes were steady. "I have eaten their bread," he admitted. Gasps rippled through the group of Zerathians. Real continued louder now. "It did not kill me. It changed me. I felt connection." Vale glared, torn between fury and dread. But the humans did not react with anger. Instead, the old man nodded slowly as though he already knew. You understand, the old man said. Food is not only hunger. Food is trust. The Zarathians whispered in shock. Trust through flesh, through fire? Impossible. Yet deep inside they knew it was true. Vale's voice came out low, strained. We do not eat as you do. We cannot. The old man's eyes gleamed with something between wisdom and challenge. Then watch, and learn. And so the aliens watched as the humans feasted again. Meat roasted, bread tore, stew bubbled. Every bite was shared. Every laugh was echoed. Even after insult, even after rejection, the humans kept offering. This was not weakness. This was not madness. This was a weapon more terrifying than any blade or beam. Because no matter how much the Zarathians resisted, the fire still burned for them. Later, as the humans slept and the fire dimmed, Vale spoke to his scouts in a harsh whisper. They did not fight. They did not fear. They only laughed at our insults and gave more. Do you not see? They conquer without war. They enslave without chains. They offer food, and those who taste it are never the same. His eyes burned in the dark. This is the cultural clash. Our order cannot match their chaos. Our cold cannot resist their fire. If they reach the stars, they will not only defeat us, they will change us. The scouts trembled in silence. For the first time, they understood the true power of humanity. Not fire, not poison, not survival, but the unstoppable hunger to share. For 3 nights, the Zarathians stayed near the human camp. They watched, listened, and learned. Each evening, humans gathered around fire. Each evening, they cooked, shared, and laughed. The aliens took notes, whispered theories, and argued in hushed tones. But no one spoke of the growing weight pressing on them all, curiosity mixed with fear. It happened on the 4th night. The humans were roasting another strange animal. Its skin crackled in the flames, fat dripping onto the fire with sharp bursts of sound. The smell filled the air heavy and strong. To the Zarathians, it was unbearable. Their senses screamed, their stomachs twisted. One scout, Talon, could endure no more. His body shook, his face twisted in disgust. He stepped forward, breaking formation, and hissed loudly for all to hear. Barbaric creatures, he spat. His black eyes gleamed with rage. You burn life, you eat corpses, you sing while chewing death. You are nothing but beasts with fire. The camp went silent. Every human froze. Knives paused mid-cut. Laughter died on lips. Children stopped moving. The fire crackled alone in the stillness. The Zarathians tensed. They expected fury, violence, attack. They prepared their cloaks, their weapons, their escape. But the humans did not rise in anger. Instead, they laughed. Not mocking, not cruel. Simply loud, deep laughter. As though Talon's insult was nothing but wind. A man slapped his thigh, grinning. A woman covered her mouth, giggling. Even the old leader shook his head with a smile, saying, You speak like a hungry man who has never tasted food. Talon's jaw dropped. He had screamed venom, yet they answered with laughter. It was the greatest humiliation a Zarathian could feel. Do not mock me, he shrieked, his voice cracking. We are above you. We are clean, pure. We feed on light itself, not this filth. The humans only laughed harder. The old man stepped closer, holding a skewer of roasted meat. He lifted it high, the flames reflecting off the juices. His voice was calm but firm. You call it filth. Yet this filth keeps us strong. It keeps us alive in storms, in wars, in hunger. This fire food is our weapon, and it is our gift. He extended the skewer toward Talon. The smell rose hotter, sharper. The Zarathian staggered back, his body trembling. You think I would eat your corruption? Never, the man shrugged. Without anger, he bit into the meat himself. The sound of tearing flesh echoed in the silence. He chewed slowly, eyes locked on Talon's as if to prove a point without words. Talon shuddered. His voice broke. You enjoy death, the man swallowed. His answer was soft, almost gentle. No, we enjoy life. And food is life. The clash should have ended there. But Talon made the mistake. Driven by rage and shame, he stepped forward and slapped the skewer from the man's hand. The meat fell into the dirt, sizzling where it touched the coals. Smoke hissed into the air. The humans gasped. The fire crackled louder, almost angry. Children hid behind parents. Warriors gripped knives. For the first time, true danger filled the air. Commander Vale's blood ran cold. He hissed in his own tongue. Fool! You have broken the ritual. The old man bent slowly, lifting the fallen meat. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp as steel. He brushed the dirt away and placed the skewer back into the fire. Then he looked at Talon with a gaze that cut deeper than any blade. You insulted our food. You insulted our fire. But worse, you refused our gift. The Zarathians froze. The weight of those words was heavy. Refusing food in human culture was more than rejection. It was war. The humans stared at the aliens now, their faces harder, colder. The laughter was gone. For the first time, the Zarathians felt the full force of human silence. It was heavier than fire, sharper than knives. Talon's body shook. His pride screamed at him to stand tall, but his heart begged him to run. The old man finally spoke again. His voice was soft, but it carried like thunder. You call us beasts. Perhaps we are. But we are beasts who survive storms. Beasts who outlast poison, beasts who turn death into strength. Tell me, alien, what are you? Talon could not answer. His mouth opened, but no sound came. The humans stared a moment longer. Then, without another word, they turned back to the fire. They roasted more meat. They sang again, though softer, their eyes never leaving the aliens. The ritual continued. But something had changed. The fire no longer felt like welcome. It felt like warning. Later, away from human eyes, Commander Vale's fury burst. He seized Talon by the arm, his voice sharp with rage. You fool! Do you not see? You did not insult only their food. You insulted their soul. They offered peace and you spat on it. You have turned their laughter into silence. You have made them watch us as hunters watch prey. Talon trembled. His pride was shattered, his voice weak. They laughed at me. I could not endure it. Vale released him, disgust in his eyes. And now you may have doomed us all. The scouts fell silent. Each of them understood the danger. The humans had been patient, kind, forgiving. But patience had limits. Kindness had edges. And if humans ever chose to stop laughing, then their fire would not warm but burn. The mistake had been made and the fire no longer felt safe.